Hey everyone, yeah. Here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new City Morgue album, Volume 2, As Good as Dead. This is a brand new LP from the music duo ZillaKami and SosMula, who a few years ago decided to assemble under the umbrella of City Morgue. Their debut LP, Hell and High Water, dropped back in 2018, which was pretty one-dimensional, but it still showed a lot of potential for the growing popularity of trap metal at the time. 2 years later, and the trend isn't really that much more popular than it was just a little while ago. But what's exciting and encouraging is that City Morgue is back with a more dynamic sound, toning it down on some of the very niche and kind of gimmicky riff-heavy beats, working in more melodic choruses, mellower tracks, and instrumentals that pull quite a bit from punk and emo and alternative rock. There are songs on this thing that are just straight bloody, murderous horrorcore, which was not as prevalent in influence on the last LP. With City Morgue now delivering freakier lyrics, backed up not only with these bumping trap beats, but also the types of synths and string samples you typically hear in a scary movie, which pretty much makes tracks like Thresh and C4. What hasn't changed about City Morgue, though, is that they still cut to the chase, they are still blunt. This thing is 17 tracks, 35 minutes, not a whole lot of wiggle room on these cuts. Many of them just disappear before 2 minutes. Zilla and Mula both very much have a similar energy on this one too. They are screaming at the top of their lungs on most of these tracks. It's edgy as fuck, though again on those more mellow and melodic tracks, Zilla does make an attempt to sing more choruses and he holds his own. Now, not every one of these low-key cuts on this record are amazing. For example, the balloons, whose hook really drags on forever. Still, adding these kinds of songs on the album does make for a more versatile and enjoyable listening experience. Overall, I will say I think Volume 2 here is better than Volume 1, even if it is still a little hit or miss. There are, of course, some tracks here that are so short or they cut out so abruptly they leave a lot to be desired. Also, some tracks here don't exactly stand out for the best reasons. For example, the song Whoa, 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 Whoa. You really do have to wonder how much effort truly went into the hook on that one, especially since there are some supremely good choruses here. The song Baby Wipes, I think, finishes before any real momentum gets going. The verse on it from Mula is very mild and contains a very weird reference to baby wipes. But again, I'm mostly wondering, on this record of 17 tracks, what is this 1 minute and 23 seconds really adding to the whole thing? Especially since it's shoulder to shoulder with tracks that are equally aggressive, tracks that are much catchier. Still, what you do get outside of these relative low points in the track list here is a series of gruesome bangers with a lot of attitude, with a lot of volume. The vast majority of the lyrics here are cartoonishly violent. The appeal is pretty much in how over the top it all is. Like on this set of bars where Mula is talking about there being a potato on his gun and he's not making hash browns, or Zilla on the track Splinter, go ape shit, I shoot up your house, I do not party, doot, like we playing Baby Sharky. I'm a rat killer, shredder to master splinter, Glock paint pictures, bloody at mall centers. If I took a shot for every time that indiscriminate bullet spray was referenced in the lyrics on this thing, I might be dead before 3/4 of the album were done. I don't think the entertainment value of the album, though, boils down simply to this thing just being a cheap and violent thrill. There are some very good instrumentals here, there are some head-nodding grooves, there are some solid flows, the energy is infectious, and again, the choruses are pretty good from track to track as well. It's so visceral, its aggression is infectious. I can imagine every single City Morgue show just being this giant mosh pit. Highlights beyond this include the opening track Neck Brace, which I'm pretty sure includes a Death Grips interpolation. It goes, break your fucking neck! The hook on Inferior is a lot more mystical by comparison, but it's still a heavyweight track with its very creepy and sparse lead melodies and buzzing guitar samples. Tracks like these balance out with the gloomier cuts on the album, and on these songs, we do hear and see a lyrical switch. On these tracks, Zilla and Mula are unafraid to address other topics like depression, isolation, suicidal thoughts, drug addiction, like on the track DRAINO. Let me say, not only is this one of the sadder cuts here, but it's also very smart to include Denzel Curry on one of these tracks from the record. Not only is it a solid feature, but it's not the turn that I think most fans are expecting when they hear that City Morgue and Denzel Curry are going to team up. I'm sure most assumed, oh, it's going to be the hardest shit on planet Earth. But instead, this track is so much darker, more demented and depressing, referencing tears going down the drain. The song The Give Up is even sadder by comparison. Lyrically, it is a suicide note of sorts, talking about dealing in those feelings, fighting them, turning them over, and contemplating them. I think there is a bit of a lull in the middle of the record where Zilla and Mula start taking some tracks on their own, which I appreciate that this changes the track list up a little bit, but I think that they work best together, at least in the context of City Morgue. I don't see what a solo track from either of them really brings to an album like this. Even if I do think the refrains on 16 Toes are pretty good, and the IDK feature around this point on the album is good too. Things start picking up once more toward the end. We have amazing hard-hitting cuts like DIRTNAP. They want a dirt nap! They want a dirt nap! With the track MOUTHGUARD, City Morgue easily saved one of the best choruses for last. I like to break shit, make shit, build it and destroy it. Honestly, as somebody who, as a teenager, loved edgy, angry hip-hop, liked ICP, that kind of stuff, liked DMX, this like is very much kind of plugging into those feelings. Things get a bit less aggressive for the last couple of songs. Screaming at the Rain is one of the more melodic cuts here. Beautiful chorus. Mula in his verse rapid fires bars about losing a friend, depending on drugs to get through emotional pain. It's pretty simple. It's not flashy, but the bluntness of this verse from a man who is rarely vulnerable on this thing is truly what gives it impact. The song Peeling Scabs has some pretty decent synth passages on it too. I think the guitar samples, which are very twangy and sad and somber, work very well into the instrumental. But this track doesn't really have any more weight thematically or instrumentally or lyrically than any other here, especially some of the sad songs, because it is one of the sadder songs. And basically, with this being the closer, I'm just feeling a little underwhelmed. Like, this could have been bigger, this could have been a grander statement, something that ties the entire record up, but it feels just as cut to the chase as everything else here, which I guess does leave me wanting more. But with a new project, I would love to hear City Morgue looking at things a bit more big picture in terms of how all of these tracks are coming together. So even though I do think City Morgue have overcome some of those issues of being one-dimensional, being so one-note on their last record, I think there is room to grow here. Of course, this style of hip-hop is not going to be for everyone. It's just going to be too edgy for some people, but still, I think this project is a cool and thrilling shock to the system. It is as much a blade to the throat as it is a cry for help in some ways. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, City Morgue, forever.